Well, welcome again to another podcast, Down to Earth but Heavenly Minded. And I'm your host, Irvrish, and we're going to continue on in the Book of Proverbs. And today we're going to be looking at some dealings with money. And we are now on lesson number 10, I believe it is. Yep, lesson number 10. And the title of our study today is Easy Money Will Keep You from Being Wise. And this is so true, and a lot of people don't realize this. But if you make easy money, it keeps you from being wise. And how do we know this? Is because King Solomon told us this in the Book of Proverbs. In season 1 of the TV show 24, and I don't know if you watch it or not, but federal agent Jack Bauer suspected his supervisor, George Mason, to be withholding vital information from a crime investigation. So Bauer shoots him with a tranquilizing gun. And while Mason is lying unconscious on the couch, Bauer sets his cronies to dig up anything they can that will give Bauer bargaining leverage with Manson. They discovered that a few years earlier, a substantial sum of money disappeared from the government coffer and landed in an offshore account owned by none other than Supervisor Mason. Bauer gets his bargaining chip when Mason regains consciousness. Bauer is able to extort the required information by revealing his newfound knowledge of Mason's dark secret. Even if you haven't watched 24 or any of the seasons, you probably heard the same storyline played out a zillion times in television dramas, political campaigns, news headlines. Money issues are often at the center of someone's character, is defamed by scandals. It could be, theft, tax exemptions, tax evasions, questionable accounts practices, or simply poor management. But whatever the specific instance is, it is clear that a failure to handle money with integrity has a potential to disqualify a person from receiving trust. Well, the fact is no less true in ancient Israel than it is today. As we'll see in the next few Proverbs, Solomon warns his people of the danger of money and money issues. First, he commands the one seeking wisdom to reject the enticement to easy money. Proverbs 1, verse 10. Then he explains why easy money makes promises. Proverbs 1, verses 11 through 14. But it can't keep them. Proverbs 1, 15 through 18. And is ultimately self-destructive. And we find that in Proverbs 1:19. Well, let's look at maybe rejecting easy money. And that's the idea of the Book of Proverbs, is to instruct us in what to do. Financial improprieties will ruin your influence. Therefore, Solomon commands us straight out to reject the enticement of easy money. When we read Proverbs 1:10, it says, "My son, if sinners entice you, do not consent." It's not all that complicated. If sinners entice you, do not consent. Just say no. Turn away from evil. Don't even consider it. Sinners entice us, and they entice us constantly. They entice us from within, and they entice us from without. In other words, sometimes the enticement comes from out there: peer pressure, advertisements, culture, expectations, and sometimes it even comes from in here, our own sinful nature, our flesh, that says, I want. We can't avoid we can't avoid the entertainment, or the enticement, I'm sorry. We can't prevent it. Sweet promises of monetary delight are all around us. All we do is either accept or reject it. So Solomon cuts through the deception and excuses with a simple command: do not consent. Just that simple. Do not consent. Sometimes the enticement comes from the form of another credit card application. Sometimes it happens when a neighbor gets a new vehicle and you want one too. They call that lust. At other times, you look at the bills piling up, or at the out-of-date sound system, and you wish for something more. Perhaps you slack off on your job searches because the unemployment compensation is both sufficient and convenient. Maybe you spend too much time at work to the neglect of your family or spiritual development, or you'd like to give money to the church, but so many other things that just keep coming up. Whatever shape the enticement takes, do not consent to it. Are you a willing participant? You might wonder why I'm focusing on money and possessions when it's obvious that there are other kinds of enticements to sin in our fallen world. Why not focus on alcoholism, cheating, illicit sex, or violence? The reason is that Solomon clearly explains what sort of enticement he is referring to when he concludes the current section in Proverbs 119. Such are the ways of everyone who is greedy for unjust gain. He is concerned with the unjust acquisition of wealth. In other words, the pursuit of a quick buck at the cost of serving others will always keep you from being wise. So that's why we're going through these studies. Now, easy money does make promises, but we don't want to listen to those promises because they're not good and they never come about. Why is it the case that pursuing a quick buck as the cost of serving others will always keep us from being wise, and we ought to be rejected? If they say, come with us, let us lie in wait for blood. Let us ambush the innocent without reason. Let us swallow them alive. Or like straw, it will swallow them alive. And whole, like those who go down to the pit. We shall find all the precious goods. We shall fill our houses with plunder. Throw in your lot among us, and we will have one purse. Proverbs 1, verses 11 through 14. Okay, these verses are morbidly comical, actually. When was the last time that you ever heard a total stranger approach you on the street and ask, hey, why don't you say we'll go find a defenseless old lady, beat her to death, and take her credit cards? We can share them, I promise. It just doesn't happen like that. And Solomon knows it. It's not like the ancients were so much dumber or gullible than we are, and that they fall for such a thing. I don't think Solomon is doing that. I think what Solomon is trying to do is, he says, rather, Solomon is taking what is usually uh, implied and making an explicit by telling a story. He brings to light what is really going on every time we give in to our desires for more stuff. We're not innocent victims. Proverbs 1:10 implies that we consent to it, and we're not making life any easier for ourselves. Instead, we love ourselves and ignore reality. We believe the world's promises. That's the promises of easy money. The first promise is that easy money will give me community. Come in with us. Throw in your lot among us. We will all have one purse. Yeah, it sounds good, doesn't it? Easy money promises me that I can be just like everyone else. I won't be left behind, and I can't be uh, uh, the butt of people's jokes. I won't be one of those weirdos who is out of touch with his own generation. I will be normal, accepted, uh, informed, and relevant. I might even be uh, advised and persuaded by others who are normal, acceptable, informed, and relevant. I will have the community I'll always long for. I'll always have friends. Isn't that great? Sounds good, doesn't it? Now, the second promise is that easy money will give me security. What shall find all precious goods? We shall fill our houses with plunder. Once I get all the precious stuff that normal people are supposed to have, my life will be easier. Communications will be easier. Managing my life will be easier. And finally, be able to relax on that ideal vacation. My clothes will be more comfortable. My work will be more productive, and my stress level will drop dramatically. I can pay for the car, the house, the college tuition, the weddings. I'll be set for my retirement. Probably will disappear, and nothing will shake me. I will have security. Next time we get together, the next thing we'll see is easy money can keep these promises. And the second promise is that the easy money will give me security. We shall find all the precious goods. We shall fill our houses with plunder. Once I get all the precious stuff that normal people are supposed to have, my life will be easier. Well, I guess we kind of covered this, didn't we? Yeah, and the next time we get together, we'll look at that easy money can keep these promises. Sorry, I started to teach you what I just taught you. The the point being that money is the root of all evil. It isn't that money itself is evil. It's that money causes a lot of the problems in our lives. And a lot of the problems that are causes because we don't have enough, or we want enough, we lust after it. And that's where it all comes from. Well, with that, I think I'm going to end my podcast here today. And in lesson number 11, we'll be looking at, the fact that easy money can't keep these promises. It makes all these promises that it can't keep. And like usual, when I end my podcast, just remember that God is out here. and you'll find them in the pages of your Bible. Just open it up and read it. I just want to encourage you. With that said, goodbye for now, and we'll see you next time.